Shalom.
Shalom.
First and foremost, before we start, we're going to give all glory and honor to
Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem, Rakakadash.
double honors to the apostles and the elders at Great Millstone who teach and will well. Peace and salutations to the elect out there, being chief of Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai, with sincerity and charity. I'm the brother Barak. I'm here with
Brother Yawasab.
It's Brother Salah.
Lord willing, this will be an edifying lesson, and we're going to be speaking about basically this Esau's great reset, right? Everything he does is basically coordinated and planned, including this distraction that you're seeing right now. With little Jeff files, right? They basically see this. This is also coordinated. This isn't something that just impromptu got released, right? This has been planned, right? And you got precepts. So we're gonna bring these out.
Yeah, so we're going to begin with 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11. It says here, "Least Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices," right? So, yeah, so we're not ignorant of the fact that, like, all of a sudden, man, they've been, like, flashing these files since 2019, that they finally decided to, start releasing these files now. If you're in the truth, man, or if you're a so-called quote unquote woke in general, man, you're hip, you're aware to to what's going on, right? And not only are you gonna pay attention to these files, right? But you're gonna try to understand, okay, well, what's the point of them releasing these files, right? What are they trying to hide from us? Right. And in this video we're about to show you, right? Whoever made this it's an AI video, but whoever made it, they I would say they did a perfect breakdown of why they released the FC files along with the events that are happening right now in 2026 since 2020. So before we play the video, we're gonna get the copyright disclaimer. All right, so I'm just gonna read it aloud. Research tool. Alright, so copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Alright, so with that out of the way, we're going to jump straight to the clip.
What if the Epstein files weren't leaked to expose the truth, but to intentionally destroy the old power structure so a new one can take control?
January 2026, over 3 million pages released naming everyone Bill Gates, Prince Andrew, politicians, CEOs. But ask yourself, who benefits from destroying these people's credibility all at once?
You're saying someone wanted these files released, that it's not justice, but strategy.
Think about it. These files have existed since 2019, when Epstein died. They could have released them anytime. Why now? Why January 2026 specifically? What changed?
So the timing isn't random, it's calculated.
Look at what's happening simultaneously. Trump just took office promising to drain the swamp. Russia-Ukraine war escalating. Middle East conflicts exploding. China-Taiwan tensions at breaking point. Multiple powder kegs ready to blow at once.
You think World War III is being orchestrated while we're distracted by Epstein files?
Not distracted, prepared. The files expose the old power structure. Yates, Clinton, British royalty. These are the legacy elites. What if a new power structure wants them eliminated so they can take over?
So this is a power transition disguised as justice.
The files show Gates emailing Epstein about meetings. Photos of them together on Epstein's plane. Prince Andrew at the island? These aren't leaks, these are executions. Public character assassinations of the old guard.
But who would orchestrate something this massive? Who has that kind of power?
Look at the pattern. COVID-19 reshapes global economy. Ukraine war breaks energy systems. Inflation destroys middle-class savings. Epstein files destroy trust in institutions. Each crisis benefits whoever's building the next system.
You're saying every major crisis from 2020 to 2026 is connected?
When the old system collapses, people will beg for a new one. They'll accept digital currencies, social credit systems, surveillance, anything as long as it's not run by those pedophile elites. That's the setup.
So we're being manipulated into wanting tyranny by making the current system look so evil that we'll accept anything else?
The Epstein files aren't about justice. Justice would mean arrests. This is about controlled demolition. Destroy the old rulers, start World War III to reset everything, and build a new system from the ashes.
Problem, reaction, solution. Create the crisis, let people panic, then offer the predetermined answer.
We're not witnesses to scandal. We're watching the planned demolition of one empire so another can rise, and we're cheering for it.
I genuinely don't know what's real anymore.
That's exactly how they want you to.
What if the
Alright, so we're gonna jump to the book of the book of Sirach, or the book of Ecclesiasticus. So I can bear with me one moment. We're going to read the book of Ecclesiasticus, the book of Sirach, chapter 10, verse 8. And it says here, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another, right? You know, and that's basically, you know, how Esau, Edom, took control or took rulership, you know, from Jacob during the Dark Ages, from around, the Renaissance, was between the 1400s to the 1500s, and now, you can say they're starting their second Renaissance again, or rather their global reset by basically by purposely collapsing the system, right? Releasing the Epstein files, shrinking the middle class by raising housing prices, through BlackRock.
That's his motto, order out of chaos, right? So they're basically because they've been telling you on the dollar bill, right? That they're basically gonna do this order out of chaos, and why do you see these same people on those files, right? A lot of these people are resigning big positions, like CEOs resigning the positions, right? Because they know something prior to what's about to happen, basically.
On top of that, right, they're firing a lot of their employees, right? They're hiring bosses, that will just fire their employees on the whim, without warning or whatever. And why is that? Is because they're about to establish their new digital system. That's what they want, right? But before all that happens, before World War III actually starts, right? There has to be some sort of what's it called? Some sort of catastrophe, right? Some sort of planned event, right? That planned event, in Babylon the Great is going to be that martial law or that insurrection act, right?
And this devil will create chaos to offer a solution, but that solution is not going to be a solution that's going to help the people, like he always does. He's a liar. And I have this precept I'm going to bring out real quick.
Go ahead on.
This is in the book of Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach, chapter 12 and 17. If adversity come upon thee, thou shalt find him there first. And though he pretend to help ye, that yet he shall undermine thee. So, this devil will appear to be there first. He'll offer aid, he'll offer some sort of solution like we just mentioned, and he'll act like he's going to help, just to come behind you with a knife and stab you in the back when you least expect it. And that's the nature of this devil Esau Edom. And it says, continuing on, he will shake his head and clap his hands and whisper much and change his countenance. So he'll just tell you everything that he wants you to hear. And he's wicked, man. That's why the scriptures also say in the book of Psalms 55 and 21, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. And this devil, he meditates on terror. He meditates on destruction and violence and using his weapons. That's what this devil was bred to do, deep inside his DNA.
Yeah, Con, that's right. And now we're at the time of exposition, right? Because these wicked elites, right? Their plans through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is getting exposed, right? All right, Salakia. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 29, verse 15. It says here, woe unto them that seek deep to hide their counsel from the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, and their works are in the dark. And they say, who seeth us and who knoweth us, right? Right, so these damn devils think they can actually get away with all the wickedness that they're doing, right? And think they can cover this up with with a false flag event, and just mind control everyone through a chip, right? And mass genocide. But really, what's going to happen is the Lord's preparing their asses unto that great terrible day, man. Judgment, Mashapatu.
This is the book of Ecclesiasticus 23 and 19. Such a man only feareth the eyes of men, and knoweth not that the eyes of the Lord Yahweh are 10,000 times brighter than the sun, beholding all the ways of men and considering the most secret parts. So the Lord, he knows, each and every move these devils take. Their pride makes them think that, nothing's going to stop us. We're unstoppable, and the Lord will cause them to do this in the first place. He is watching every single one of these moves, and he's, as a matter of fact, orchestrating it. Because this is leading up to this place ultimately being destroyed by ICBM nuclear missiles, as the scriptures say, which is prophecy.
Yeah, that's right. All these things got to take place, right? It's like wars, famines. The famine of the word before what, and that the implementation of that RFID microchip, man. The mark of the beast, that Quran, that's everything. What it's building up to, man. Everything from 2020 to up to now, man. This devil wants to implement that Quran, right? Because why? He wants that pseudo blessing. He wants to. It's his attempt to take that birthright back, but we know he can never take that back, man.
He can't, and this is why, he's so angry right now. And the devil have it but a short time, as scriptures say. Can I bring that out real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, Doc. Yeah, that's Revelation 12, verse 12.
Yeah, he's moving quickly because he knows what's about to happen, man. He's going to be put into captivity. This is the book of Revelation 12 and 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. So, this is why you see things are speeding up, and the brother Barak always says it. You want to bring that out? There's years where...
Yeah, there's years where nothing happens, and there's weeks where years happen, right? That's paraphrasing the quote, but basically, this devil, what he does is he does things, something called gradualism, right, where he'll slowly bring things out, slowly implement things, and eventually gradualism becomes suddenism, right? Look at what happened in 2020 with the whole, scamdizzle, right, 2019, 2020, right? Within just, a few months, right, they had the whole world operating on basically just following orders, right? Stand 6 feet apart, right? Also, what else? They had, wear mask, right? They're basically conditioning people, right? They're gonna, for an event like, don't be surprised basically when they have, some mass T-word attack, right? On U.S. soil or something that causes them to say something like, we need everybody on a digital ID. That's what they're gonna implement.
And didn't you say something about, there's a scripture that goes into it, I'm not exactly sure off the top of my head, but talking about how Babylon's never faced war on his land. Isn't there a scripture that talks about that?
Yeah. It calls it the virgin daughter of Babylon. Let's get that. Let's see. Virgin daughter. Sloppy if I'm taking notes.
No, you're good. You're good. It's just these guys over here.
Yeah, now the internet wants to be.
Is that Isaiah 47 and 1?
Yeah, right here. So, Isaiah 47. Yeah, let's start verse 1. Right. It says here, "Come down and send the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit in the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate." Right. And the reason why it's called virgin daughter, as the apostles and elders says, is because it's an unwalled city, man. In America, they have no physical walls, man, to keep the intruders out. Like anyone just coming in and out, man. They could have like a fake ID or something, or hell, jump the border, which they do allow. They'll to fulfill their agenda, but but that goes into the fact that anyone could just come into America, right? Undocumented or uncharted, right? Right, take the millstones, grind the mill, uncover the locks, make the leg bare, uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers, right? That goes into Esau, Edom, man. Getting exposed, right? Right. So him getting exposed, for all the wickedness that they've done, right? Like everyone knows about chattel slavery. Everyone knows what what he did. Around the 1800s. And him going into every country, bombing and destroying everyone, But just the Epstein files alone, man, is enough for the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahshua, to utterly destroy America, man.
I can bring it out.
We'll get into it, right?
Yeah.
And now we're in the time of these Edomites, starting to feeling these curses, right? because now they're starting to see that, hey man, America, man, this the kingdom that they're living in, this isn't it, man. Democracy, as Elder Malcolm has said, man, democracy has finally turned inward on these people, man. They're starting to see the true nature of these devils, right? And now they're turning onto each other, right? Going in the curses of Deuteronomy, chapter 30, where it says, the Lord's going to put all these curses upon our enemy that hate thee, which persecute thee, right? And that's caused these devils, right? In Psalm 64, verse 8, right, it says that they shall make their own tongue fall upon themselves. All them that see them shall flee away, right? Right? These devils, man, these so-called white people, man. They're exposing each other, for the devils, right? That they are, man.
And the whole world, man, they all know who Amalek is. They all know the JOOs. Everybody hates them. And they're being exposed, man, even by their own people. Even by these low-level Edomites are the same ones that are going against them. Meanwhile, they don't even know that these are their own brothers.
And that's the thing about Esau, Edom's deception, right? Like he's deceived so many people to the point where he even deceived his own damn people to think that they're different groups of white people. No, nigga, you the same people, man. You damn tiny tops and you so-called white Christians, man. You Edomites, man. They're both pointing to the finger at each other, saying that they're Edomites, man.
Redneck hillbillies, y'all are both spittle. You guys are both spittle.
Yeah, that's right, man. They're getting ousted, for being that serpent in the garden, right? Revelation chapter 12, verse 9, it says here, the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. Hence why these devils even blotted their own lies, right? He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him, right? So it's not the spiritual demon Satan, right? That myth where God casting out for rebellion. No, that's bugged out. That should never happen, right? What it is talking about is talking about Esau, Edom, right? Being released back on earth. Deceiving the whole world, man. As it says, in the same book, he was let loose for a little season. Let's get that.
I'm gonna bring something out through here.
Alright, this is the book of Revelation, chapter 20, verse 3, and it says here, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And that 1,000 years represents the dark ages, right? When Jake was in rulership, right? And after that, he must be loosed a little season, right? And we're at the end of that little season, when where Esau's in rulership, lying, deceiving, raping, robbing, killing, people around the earth.
The elder apostles, they brought out on their live stream, they said Esau, he kept his wrath, right? He still has that, wrath towards us, right? He still has that, basically that grudge, right? He's basically, he's waiting. He's so angry, right, about him losing his birthright. He basically wants to, come down with that RFID microchip, right? That chip where just, he wants to get his payback. And that's how he wants to try to deceive everybody, right? And the thing is, what's that scripture? Revelation 3:10, right? Because that has kept the word of my patient.
No, I bring it out. You want me to bring it out?
Yeah.
Alright. This is the book of Revelation 3:10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth.
Yeah. Esau, he's waiting for that moment. It's like, think of a guy on a concert or something, right? He's waiting hours just to perform. You know what I'm saying? This devil, he's waiting to chip everybody, and ultimately, and because he has that grudge, you know what I'm saying? He wants that power back.
And you see it just as an example, not to go off topic, but you see the grudge that he holds when he sees Jake, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans but most especially, you so-called blacks, the tribe of Judah, and these other tribes as well, with his woman. He has a grudge. You cannot go on Instagram without seeing a light-skinned baby and a white woman, and everybody has something to say. This devil has a grudge. He's purely jealous of our people because we are better than him. All right? And this is why he wants to take us and have us at his mercy. This is what he's been doing these countless years and years, man, putting us into subjection, putting us in project houses, just keeping us on a muzzle. Because he knows, the power of our people when we come.
He hates seeing people, but it is that are below him suddenly surpass him.
Yeah.
People that made it at the grind, right? People that made it start from the bottom, made it to the top, right?
Yeah, Khan.
And even though we're not even at the top in the society, when you have something that this devil wants, he starts hating on you, man.
Hey, he's a number one hater.
Yeah, if he can't have it, man, he'll just make fun of you for what he can't have, man. No matter what it is, man. If it's nothing physical, he'll make a trait that you have, right? So something that might demonstrate talent. He'll make fun of it, and then he'll try to mimic himself after he fucking makes fun of you, man.
Calling these Jakes, monkeys and women that go after black men mud sharks. He's jealous, man, because this guy, he's not able to pop women and get them pregnant the way that Jake's able to. He's not as vigorous as Jake is.
You see, you might think he's trying for 8 months, they still can't even get pregnant.
This guy, the definition of Esau is like he's like a water boy. He don't even make the team. He don't even make JV, not even practice squad. They feel bad for him, so they make him the water boy. He's like that guy that they just throw off to the side. That's really what he is, man. He's a laughing stock.
Well, what they have to do is they have to start, raping, literally,
Raping.
Fill in the blanks, right? Doing torture, doing all this crazy fucking shit, right? Creating stuff films, having all these mass parties, sodomizing, right? Because he can never satisfy his lust, right? And there's a scripture, I don't remember, but it talked about basically him loving blood, basically, right?
I'll let me get that. I know what you're talking about.
I don't know if you can find it, something like that.
It's because thou hast hated it's not Ezekiel. That works.
What is it?
Even
Ezekiel 35:5.
shall pursue. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, it was Ezekiel.
It is,
35 verse 36. It says here, therefore, as I live, saith the Lord Yahweh Shai, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, meaning he likes blood, he likes bloodshed. Even blood shall pursue thee. Meaning what, man? That's gonna wait at every door, man. And that goes into the curse of Cain, man. You're not just sowing evil. Because Esau's a reincarnation of Cain.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. He's always been that that murderous bloodthirsty monkey from the beginning, man.
And if I could bring this out, the same verse in the GNT.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so we're gonna start on. We're gonna start from verse 5 and read on down. You were Israel's constant enemy, and let her people be slaughtered in the time of her disaster, the time of final punishment for her sin. So then, as surely as I, the sovereign Lord, I am the living God, death is your faith, and you cannot escape it. You are guilty of murder, and murder will follow you. I will make the hill country of Edom a wasteland and kill everyone who travels through it. I will cover the mountains with corpses, and the bodies of those who are killed in battle will cover the hills and valleys. I will make you desolate forever, and no one will live in your cities again. Then you will know that I am the Lord. And that reminds me of Obadiah 1:18.
Yes, sir. Let's close off with that.
You devils are going to be put into captivity, man, real soon. And this is what the scriptures say. This is not what we're saying, pulling it out of a hat. This is what the scriptures say. Right? For all you that want to go around and talk about how, Esau is going to be able to obtain salvation and the rewards that we're going to obtain, and they're going to walk in the light. Total and utter bullshit. If anybody says that, they're not speaking according to the scriptures.
And you know what's funny? Even their own scholars wrote in their own fucking books saying that Esau's the only nation not promised mercy from God, man. And so they even know that they're gonna go down, right? All right, so we're gonna end it right here in Obadiah chapter 1 verse 18. The house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle on them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai hath spoken it.
Yep.
So after they serve their 1,000 years of hardcore slavery, man, they get rounded up, man, into a pit. They get thrown in there, and then they get burned, and then they get ultimately, deleted forever, man.
Yeah. Scriptures say, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and faith of the saints. That's Revelation 13:10. So we have patience in the faith that this devil is going to be put into captivity very soon. Okay? Very soon, for all the atrocities and abominations he committed over generations. All right? So we're good?
Yeah, that's it for me.
With that being said, Lord willing, you Akim wa Akwath were edified with this lesson. With that being said, we want to give all glory, honor, and infinite praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash. Double honors unto the elders and apostles at Great Millstone, who rule well and teach well in sincerity and truth. Peace and salutation unto the Lord's elect, the hopeful elect, and the 1/3. Once again, I'm the brother Yah. What's up?
Brother Barak.
Brother Salah.
Shalom.
So long.